Comic book lover Dale Jones spent many evenings lost in the pages of some fantastic work of fiction. But one rainy evening, he found himself pursuing a line of reasoning that was destined to have startling consequences. The idea of the superpowered hero has been around for ages. The modern concept of the costume superhero is certainly newer, but is essentially the same. It's old enough and fundamental enough that no one person or entity defined as a person under the law, i.e. a corporation, is able to harness the power of this concept for its own exclusive use by being able to copyright it. This is why different companies have been able to introduce similar heroes who vary only in the particular powers they possess. These thoughts drift through his mind, while another more practical part of Jones' mind remembers the open window upstairs, now doubtless admitting vast quantities of rain propelled by the increasingly violent storm outside. As Jones approaches the room, his thoughts imitate the storm, becoming more wild and intense. Why, there's nothing to stop me from creating my own superpowered character, or character with fantastic abilities of some sort. As the windows shake on their hinges and threaten to fly loose in the storm, Jones' thoughts become similarly reckless. Actually, I can freely use any existing character from literature that has lapsed into the public domain, or that never was protected by copyright, either express or implied in the first place. Use. Bah. There's no legal reason I can't become one or even several of these characters. Jones finally reaches the windows, while simultaneously the charged upper atmosphere begins to release the energy that is built up in it, as a violent bolt of lightning. As the bolt of energy works its way downward, Jones' mental storm reaches a point where it too must explode. He briefly recalls the character of Dr. Frankenstein and the memorable scene in which Frankenstein's creation first comes to life. I shall become the ultimate hero of the non-copyrighted realm. But instead of closing the windows as was his original intention, Jones flings them open in a defiant gesture of self-realization. I shall become public domain man. The lightning bolt crashes in through the open window, but the accompanying sound is almost drowned out by the thunderous shout of Dale Jones. Public domain man lives! Later that night, after the storm subsides, Dale Jones walks the damp, chill streets, pondering how to use his newly realized power when fate presents the answer to him. Say, officer, what happened here? Murder. Looks like somebody was burglarizing the house when he was surprised by the old woman who lived here. He must have panicked and cracked her on the head, then taken off. You won't mind if I have a look, I trust. No, I guess not. Well, I'm stumped. The rain's washed away any trail we might have had. Perhaps I can help. Well, yeah, and who are you? My name's not important, but finding the killer is. What do you have to go on? Not much, just some muddy footprints and some kind of dust. And the footprints are only inside. He must have come in here while it was raining and left before it stopped. This dust you mentioned looks more like ash. This seems to be the kind of case that would be child's play for the most famous public domain detective, Sherlock Holmes. Holmes' exhaustive study of the ash produced by various brands of tobacco makes identifying the cigarette brand that produced these ashes trivial. Likewise, Holmes also possessed an encyclopedic knowledge of the different types of soil in all the areas surrounding his town. Gentlemen, there is no need to follow the footprints. I can tell you where they would lead. This mud is of the unique variety that in this part of the country is found only in the manufacturing district down by the river. Then let's go. Police. Can you tell me where to find the foreman? That's me. What can I do for you? A murder was committed this evening about an hour ago. Were any of your employees unaccounted for during that time? Why, yes, 2 of them. I sent them both out on different errands at about that time. Actually, here they come. It's time for their cigarette breaks. They both smoke. Then how will we know which one is the killer? Elementary. It will be the one who smokes Crazy Monkey cigarettes. That's the brand of tobacco that produced the ash at the crime scene. Gosh! Blast, you meddling do-gooder! Jones pursues the fleeing killer, shedding the Sherlock Holmes persona as he runs. End of the line. You may as well come peacefully. End of the line. For you. No time to dodge, but maybe enough time to become Superman. What? Superman is still protected by copyright. I can't assume his powers in this publication. Oh, dying. Unless I can assume the traits of some character impervious to bullets like Count Dracula. What? You're not dead? No. Before dying, I had time to become undead. And now your criminal career is over. No! Curses. As a vampire, I may be immune to bullet wounds, but I also cannot cross bodies of running water. Must act quickly before the killer gets away, though. He's already running down the opposite bank. Well, Count Dracula may be incapable of crossing water, but the water is as solid ground, too. Jesus Christ. Don't forget to turn the other cheek, pal. And one to grow on. A few minutes later, we can't thank you enough, friend. You solved the crime and single-handedly apprehended the perpetrator. I'm just happy to have been useful. Obviously, great satisfaction comes from using my powers to fight crime, so I shall devote myself to that cause. Everything turned out all right tonight, but my stupid mistake made in the heat of battle, attempting to assume the persona of a character who has not lapsed into the public domain, nearly cost me my life. I must henceforth pursue my reading with added vigilance until I can choose the appropriate character to assume at a moment's notice, and be sure I'm only considering non-copyrighted personalities, the only kind that can be assumed by public domain man.